Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining from in the world today, and welcome to Live with Leila. My name is Leila Singh, and I'm a leadership, career, and personal brand coach. My mission is to impact 100,000 people's career trajectory beyond what they thought possible. Why? Because I am passionate about helping you to realize what is truly possible for you when it comes to your career and your life. How do I do this? Through enabling you to harness your leadership potential. I coach high achieving, ambitious, and driven mid to senior level career professionals working in the technology industry who are looking for promotion to achieve peak performance and positioning. In other words, a standout personal brand, all whilst showing up as the best version of yourself, what I call life leadership. So, welcome each and every one of you who's joining me live today. If you're watching live, please do say hello in the comments and let me know where you are joining from. So which city, which country are you in? And if you are watching on replay, then please hashtag replay in the comments so that I know that you're watching this back on replay. And again, let me know where you're watching on replay from. And for today's topic, as always, if you have any questions, any thoughts, any comments, do pop them below. I will come back and respond to you, whether that's right now on the live or indeed if you're watching on replay. So I'm going to dive straight into today's topic. Before I do, I see Shah is on. Hi there, Shah. Thanks for joining. And what is today's topic? So today is all about priorities. In other words, mastering priorities for your career growth and your accelerated success. So today, what I want to talk about with you is why setting clear priorities in your career is essential for building your reputation, for establishing your personal brand, and how it can help you to take control of your career trajectory. So when I talk about priorities, what do I mean? I'm referring to knowing what's important versus what is urgent and how this directly is impacting your career success, your career advancement. And here, Stephen Covey's framework is useful. It comes into play here. In other words, my question to you is, do you focus on what is urgent or do you focus on what's urgent and reactive? In other words, the reactive tasks, or do you focus on those that drive your long-term goals? In other words, they align with your longer-term career vision. And why do I say this? Because it is so easy to get caught up in the daily demands, the firefighting, or responding to other people's agendas. We've all been there. I've been there, and I'm sure you have too. So it's really important here to slow down and take a step back to recognize how you're showing up, what you're doing, how you're approaching your day-to-day when it comes to your career. Because yes, of course, there are priorities, there are other people's agendas that you do need to respond to. But also within this, you want to ensure that some of what you are doing is driving you forward to go to where you want to be when it comes to your career. And when it comes to building that standout brand and advancing your career, you want to have clarity on what your focus areas are. In other words, your long-term priorities. So let me know if this is making sense. And as I said, any questions you have, do pop them below in the comments. Why are priorities critical? Well, two clear reasons for this. Number one is control and clarity. In other words, setting priorities allows you, excuse me, allows you to have control over your day-to-day activities. In other words, you're able to work with intentions, you're intentional on what you do, you're focusing on the tasks that align with your career goals and your reputation building efforts. In other words, developing that powerful personal brand. Secondly is having clear direction. So when you are clear about your priorities, you're also clear about where you're heading. And you're likely to become less reactive and more proactive in how you shape your career. So these are two key reasons why having your priorities set are critical. What is the impact of not prioritizing when it comes to career advancement? Well, the obvious one, which I've kind of mentioned already, is being in reactive mode. In other words, when you don't prioritize, you're constantly reacting to external demands. You're leaving little or no time to focus on your own growth and your long-term goals. You're simply reacting to what's presented in front of you on a daily basis. The second thing is evidence. So when we look at the impact of not prioritizing, look at the evidence. In other words, how are you feeling? Ask yourself, how are you feeling when it comes to your career, your advancement, the progress that you are making? In other words, do you ever feel frustrated or overwhelmed, like you're putting everyone else's needs before your own? In other words, you're meeting everybody else's agendas, but actually you're not putting any time or placing any time on your own priorities. This is a sign. If you're feeling this way, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling overwhelmed, that is a sign that your priorities are out of alignment. So what are some of the challenges you might be facing with prioritizing? And like I said, we've all been there. The biggest one, I believe, is avoiding those hard decisions. We often avoid setting priorities because it forces us to make tough decisions about where we spend our time. And it can feel uncomfortable to say no to things that perhaps are urgent rather than important and actually don't really move us forward. So that becomes a difficult conversation potentially, and it's a hard decision to make. And the second challenge that is common when it comes to prioritizing is external distractions. And I'd like to think that we're all guilty of this. We've all tried to deal with it, and some of us are moving forward from it, and some of us are still struggling. And what am I talking about here? It's external distractions. In other words, the information age, whether it's constant emails to social media platforms, all of these things cause and create distraction. And it then becomes very easy for others to dictate your day, your diary, where you put your time. Because how many times have you picked up your phone to actually maybe check your calendar for something or to message somebody, found yourself scrolling on one of the platforms, put your phone down, and then thought, hang on, I knew I picked my phone up to do something. Now you've probably forgotten what it was, or you just realized, oh, I haven't just sent that message. And actually you've lost 10-15 minutes of distraction on looking at your notifications on a particular social media platform. And this is where we lose time. Not only that, but when people say, oh, I'm great at multitasking, let's look at the facts and the science behind this. Multitasking isn't a thing. In other words, if you look at research behind this, it shows that it takes, I think it's around something between 18 to 23 minutes to refocus on what you were doing. So if you were in the middle of a piece of work, concentrated work, let's say, and you think, oh, I need to message so-and-so. So you pick up the phone to message, you get distracted in your scrolling, you forget to send the message, put the phone down, you go back to what you were doing, then you realize you hadn't done what you intended to do, you then revert back to the phone to send the message, you come back. It's going to take you another at least 18 minutes to refocus and get back into that flow of what you were doing originally, that immersive piece of work. So this is where we really want to work on eliminating and removing any distractions. And also, you know, are you somebody who first thing in the morning when the alarm goes off, particularly if your alarm is on your mobile phone, do you then start scrolling? Do you start looking at all your notifications, or do you just switch the alarm off and then start your day before unlocking your phone and looking at all your notifications and scrolling? Because that's where, again, it's very easy to allow your phone and the social media apps and so forth, and your emails to start to dictate your day. My invitation to you is to take back control of starting your day. The question to ask yourself is, who is really driving your agenda when it comes to prioritization? Now, what are some of the advantages here of prioritizing? Well, there's many, as you probably picked up already. So one in particular is your strategic focus. So when you get to prioritize and focus on the important things rather than the urgent tasks, you're able to make greater progress in your career, and as a consequence, create a stronger and more authentic personal brand. In other words, a powerful reputation. And why is that important? Because when you have a strong reputation in the workplace and in your industry, you're more likely to have opportunities come to you. You'll have people have you top of mind when it comes to those hiring decisions, the promotions, and for those thought leadership individuals, who are they going to come to? The people who've got the reputation, who stand out. In other words, those who've invested time and prioritized, strategically focused on their career trajectory. So this is why there's so many advantages to that, but it's important to prioritizing your career. In other words, there's so many advantages to this. The second thing is balance, because you also get to achieve greater balance, not only in your career, but in your life when you start to prioritize. What I mean by that is setting clear priorities across the board helps you then to protect some of your time for other important areas of your life, whatever those may be. For you, it might be your health, it might be your family, perhaps is investing in your personal growth and development, upskilling, spending time with your friends. Whatever it is for you, when you have priorities, you get to create greater balance. So it's not only advantages of moving your career forward, it's also about the bigger holistic picture of your life. And you might be thinking, oh, this is all great, Leila, but how do I do this? How do I actually prioritize? And I'm going to share with you, as I always do, some strategies that you can take away and start implementing immediately. So the first one I want to share with you is time blocking. And what I mean by this is scheduling. If you've not heard about this, I'll explain this to you. It's about scheduling dedicated time each week to work on activities that directly align with your personal brand, with developing your reputation, as well as your long-term goals. So whether that's building your network, it might be enhancing your visibility, or upskilling, learning a new skill, or improving on something. So whatever that might be for you, this is where you want to create some time blocking. And again, it's very easy to put this in your calendar. And I say this because I have been guilty of this in the past, particularly when I was in my career, where I think it was every couple of weeks, I'd allocate 90 minutes or so every sort of 2 weeks on a Friday to some training or some level of personal development, because there was so much training available within the organization. I thought, oh, I could do this course. I could, spend an hour, 90 minutes on some training to help develop myself. But what usually happened, and you might be guilty of this too, what would happen is that I would then have lots going on. I'd have people chasing me for something. I'd have a heavy workload, and I just deprioritize that 90-minute slot, and I would end up just focusing on my work. In other words, responding, reacting to emails, to messages, and to other people's agendas. So time blocking is really important, but not only do you block the time in your calendar, you actually follow through and do whatever it is you've committed to do during that time. This is really important, obviously, to do. So time blocking is number one. The second is delegating or saying no. And I appreciate you can't always say no, but look at where you can, or you can delegate, or is something actually your responsibility. So you want to just slow down and evaluate what tasks can be delegated, maybe automated, or even eliminated. So be honest with yourself about this, as well as maybe having that conversation. If you feel that something is no longer necessary, it's always been done, but actually it doesn't really add any value, have that conversation perhaps with your manager. Learn to say no to activities that don't contribute both to your larger vision and the vision of the organization or your team. The third strategy is identifying key focus areas. In other words, if you're going to have time blocking, what are you going to use that time that you've blocked out for? So I invite you to choose 3 core focus areas to work on at any one time. This is the power of 3. So this could be, for example, improving your communication skills. It might be developing relationships, with mentors or with people outside of your immediate team so that you're building out your network. Or perhaps it's enhancing your online presence, your online personal brand. You're working on your LinkedIn profile, for example. So think about the 3 key areas of focus, the things that you want to improve on, that you can start to focus on progressing and working through in those time blocking slots. So that's your 3rd strategy. So far we've got time blocking, delegating and saying no, and identifying key focus areas. The 4th is having an accountability partner. So what I invite you to do here is to share your goals with an accountability partner who will keep you on track and ensure you're sticking to your priorities. Because if we don't tell anyone, it's very easy to just not follow through with something. It's a little bit like people who are going on a major health goal mission and they announce it on their social media platform. Why? Because there's public accountability, and then there's more drive and commitment to follow through, because now you've told a lot of people that you're looking to I don't know, commit to running a 10K or the next marathon or whatever it might be, or to drop some weight. So all of those kind of things, when you put it out there, you're more committed to following through with it. So I'm not suggesting you have to announce it on LinkedIn. What I am suggesting or inviting you to do is identify somebody who you trust, who's got your back, who is one of your supporters, who will encourage you and keep you on track when you maybe hit some obstacles and some hurdles, or just want to give up because you're having a bad day, that they can then bring you back on track and encourage you and ensure that they're keeping you accountable, checking in to make sure you're doing what you committed to doing. So think about identifying an accountability partner. Now, this could be somebody in your team at work. It could be a mentor, a coach, a manager, somebody who you've got that level of trust with, and, you can support each other in some way. And then number 5 is mindful reflection. So at the end of each week, my invitation to you is to reflect on where your time went, because this is where we can look to improvement. When we don't slow down and stop and reflect at what's happening, we then can't really improve, because we're not looking at what's working well and what's not working. So my invitation here to you is to reflect on a weekly basis, if not daily, on where your time went. In other words, did it go in some way towards your priorities, or did it go towards distractions? In other words, sorry to ask the question here, but how many times do you get distracted with scrolling or just going through your emails when actually your intention had been to commit to a time block and a key focus area to work on? And then what you do here is, when you do that reflection work, you can then adjust accordingly for the next week. So it could be that you maybe set yourself 2 hours as a time block in your calendar and actually realize it's never going to happen. Okay, let me adjust that to an hour or to 90 minutes or to an hour and 15. Maybe change the time of day that I've allocated that. So all these different things you can do. As a quick recap, when it comes to prioritizing to advancing your career, here are the strategies again. Number 1, time blocking to focus on your priorities. Number 2 is delegate and say no. Number 3, identify key focus areas that you're going to work on, particularly when you've blocked out that time to do so. So when the time arrives, you're not sitting there thinking, oh, what should I do now? So spend some time planning what that will look like. Number 4 is get yourself an accountability partner. And finally, reflection, mindful reflection on a weekly basis, if not daily, to see what's working and what's not. So to wrap up for today, prioritizing your time and your focus is crucial, not just for managing your day-to-day workload, but also for establishing your personal brand that will enable you to propel your career forward and to advance to where you want to be. Because remember, it's about taking control of your agenda and ensuring that you're aligning at least some of your actions with your longer term goals. This way, it ensures that you're always moving forward towards that next position, that next opportunity, or stepping into leadership. Why? Because if you simply react to other people's demands and other people's agendas 100% of the time, you will find yourself left behind, and the people around you that you're supporting will be moving forward. They will be getting promoted, and you'll be sitting thinking, but I did all of this work. Why am I not getting recognized? So remember, you've got to invest time on yourself, on doing that work, developing your skills, your brand, your visibility, your communication skills, your network, and so forth. So this is really important. So start looking at what are the 3 areas that you can, where perhaps you've got your biggest gaps that you can identify as your 3 key focus areas that you can start to carve out some time to commit to developing on these areas. That's my invitation to you today. Any questions on what I've shared, do pop them in the comments below. I would love to hear what areas of your career you're going to be focusing and prioritizing over the coming 3 to 4 months as we head into the new year, because let's face it, we're at the end of October. We hit November, and then all the Christmas celebrations kick in and the parties and so forth. So you've got a full month of November to really start looking at this and nailing it, getting a plan in place for yourself so that you hit the ground running in the new year. All right, so that's it for today. And in case you're wondering where I've been for the last few weeks, as some of you may know, I was away with my partner in the Caribbean. We ran a retreat for a week on business strategy and mindset. And then we had a couple of weeks, which was a combination. It wasn't all holiday, a combination of working on our own business plans, strategies for the coming year, as well as a little bit of holiday time too. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to deliver lives with you during that time, but I'm back now on a weekly basis. So if there's any topics that you think would be helpful for me to share with you, some strategies, some support that I can offer on my weekly lives, then do direct message me or pop a comment below, and I'll be happy to put something together for you. Until next time, remember to harness your potential, elevate your performance, and commit to achieving greater personal growth by showing up as the best version of yourself. And before I wrap up completely for today, a couple of quick reminders if you haven't already done so. Number 1 is to grab your copy of my personal brand playbook. What is the personal brand playbook? This is a comprehensive ebook, which is essentially outlining what I believe are the 6 core areas that are essential for building a powerful in-person personal brand, so that you show up in the workplace with executive presence, you're visible, you're heard, you're top of mind for the decision makers, the hiring managers, and so forth. So grab your copy of this, because it not only talks you through these 6 pillars, it also provides you with best practices that you can immediately take away and implement, as well as a brand audit that you can work through to identify where your gaps are. The link is in the comments below, so do grab your copy of this today. And of course, if you haven't already, then please head over to YouTube right now. The link will be below in the comments also, and subscribe to my channel and share it. Do please share it with people like yourself who may be looking to simply move up in their career, step into leadership, develop your leadership skills, simply get promoted. Wherever you're at in your career right now, there is a wealth of content on my YouTube channels. I think we've got over 450 videos there now, which include the video recordings from my podcast episodes, of which there are over 130, 140 now, I think. Not only that, there's at least, I think, 50 something interviews with leaders from the tech industry who have generously shared their time, their career journeys, the obstacles that they've overcome, and basically showing us what is possible when it comes to your career. So do head over, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, check it out, and there will be something there that will resonate for you right now, no matter where you are in your career. Until next time, have a great rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Any questions, as I said, pop them below, and I look forward to seeing you same time, same place next Tuesday. Take care.